for us, man?
Well, I'm a Christian.
That's good. So, tell us, what is Christianity?
No, I'm going to ask first.
Okay, sure.
I wanted to ask, apart from the people that receive revelation from the olden days we have seen
Mm,
in some of the books,
mm,
we have seen people see revelation and there must be a witness. So
okay.
is there anybody that witnessed that of our Prophet Muhammad?
Sure. A lot of times. Because the revelation didn't come to him on one night, it came to him over the period of 23 years. So, multiple times he witnessed revelation. His wife, Aisha, she narrates that one time the Prophet was receiving revelation when she was with him, and on a cold night. You know, when it's cold, that was back then, 1400 years ago, in the desert. There's no, heater, nothing. On a cold night, he was sweating due to the weight, the heaviness of the revelation. That is just one example. Now, Rasulullah, he also said that Jibril would come to him as a man, in the form of a man. And we know the famous hadith. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying, right? The famous hadith where Jibril came, the angel came in the form of a man. The people did not know him. In fact, he came wearing white. And back then in the desert, everybody knows everybody in the community. So if someone who is coming and the people don't know him and he's wearing white, it's impossible because, the white was spotless. So I'm saying it's impossible for the white to be spotless if this person is traveling, coming into the city, because of the dust would stain his white. But he came in pure white clothes, and he came and he asked the Prophet some questions so that the Prophet could teach the rest of the companions. And when the man left, he told them that man, that is Jibreel alayhi salam. And in fact, the Rasulullah told them to go look for that man, go follow him. And they came back, they couldn't find him. So these are just a few examples of witnesses of the revelation. I hope I answered sufficiently.
Okay. So apart from that, the Jewish, in most of their books, like the Tanakh, the Torah, part of the Tanakh is the Torah, which also is
I know.
yeah. So the stories, some of the stories in the Bible and that of the Quran, which are the Quran come later, which at least the Quran should have testified most of the stories, or shouldn't have give a story that is different from the books of the olden days. But most of the stories differs. Like if you start with the creation of the world, the stories of the creation in Quran differs with that of the Torah, even with that of the Tanakh, the Jewish people books. So we'll see about that.
First of all, you're assuming, you have the assumption, you're presupposing that what you have is authentic. And the thing is, the Quran, let's just say, per se, the Quran is true. It doesn't matter what came before. If the Quran is from God, what is there is what is true. So if something came before, and it also says in the Quran that the people, the Jews, they wrote up stuff and they said it's from God. If I remember the ayah correctly, وَيْلٌ لِلَّذِينَ يَكْتُبُونَ الْكِتَابَ بِأَيْدِيهِمْ ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ, woe to the people who write scripture with their hand. ثُمَّ يَقُولُونَ هَذَا مِنْ عِنْدِ اللَّهِ, and they say this is from Allah. And also there are a lot of things in the Torah that Allah, like, how do I say this? Like when they lie about the prophets, and they say the prophets did such hideous things, and Allah clears their name in the Quran. For example, Aaron, in the Torah it is said that Aaron, he's the one who built the calf. Are you aware of that? The calf that the Israelites worshipped. So in the Quran, Allah says he is free from that. In the Torah, it says that Solomon, he strode to the path, he was an idol, he worshipped the idols. And Allah says, no, وَمَا كَفَرَ سُلَيْمَانَ وَلَكِنَّ الشَّيَاطِينَ كَفَرَ. And Sulaiman, he certainly did not disbelieve. It was the shayateen among them that disbelieved, the shaitans, the devils among them that disbelieved. So many other things, so many other times Allah corrects what the Jews wrote and attributed to Allah. Like they said, Allah rests. They said God rests on the seventh day. And Allah says in the Quran, He created the heavens and the earth with great might, and no tiredness even touched Him. So a lot of stuff like this, if you compare, you will see the Quran is correcting these things that the people wrote and attributed to God. I hope you understand what I said.
Yeah, so based on what you're saying, does that mean that the Torah and all those books are wrong?
I will tell you that they do contain some truth in them. For example, they do contain truth. Maybe I would even say generally, I'm speaking about the Old Testament. Generally,
Yeah.
it does contain some truth, but there are some false things in there. For example, what's it called? Deuteronomy 6:4, I think. Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one.
Yeah.
Stamp of approval. You know, Allah says in the Quran, Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Say He is Allah one. So this is like, and we believe that because it's in the Quran. You understand? We use the Quran as the criteria to see what is the truth in these scriptures. And there are a number of things that you can find that go in line with the Quran. So we would say those things are true, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I hope that's clear. Yeah.
I understand, but now let's say the Torah is wrong or is being altered or something like that. Let's just say it's wrong in some other things. So how are we sure
Okay.
that the Quran too was not altered? I had a story of Uthman during Uthman time. There was a time that he gathered
Okay.
Quran, and it was not even a revelation to him to do that. It was not from God for him to do that. So how are we sure that anything was not altered during that burning of the Quran that Uthman did?
Okay, so now I'm going to tell you how the Quran is preserved, and then after that, I will tell you about that story because I think
Okay.
you're not even getting the details, right? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So, as I told you, the Quran was revealed over 23 years to the Prophet Muhammad. Anytime he received bits of revelation, he would recite to his companions, and they would write it down. Those of them who were able to read, they're called Katabat al-Wahi, the people who wrote this scripture, who wrote the revelation. Huh? So the people would then memorize it and teach it to one another. So this is how the Quran was preserved. After the Prophet died, this is how the people kept memorizing the Quran. The people, they wrote the manuscripts. Even today, we have manuscripts
Okay.
carbon dated to the time of
They wrote and
Rasulullah.
recite during that time.
Yes, we have manuscripts that are carbon dated to the time of Rasulullah.
Yeah, I heard of the manuscript. I did 7 of them or something. Different 7 types. No,
I don't know about the number, but yeah. So
it's
the
7.
people, they memorize
I once
seven
read
what?
it. 7 manuscript. 7.
Maybe I have to confirm that. So the people, they kept memorizing it today, and that tradition is going on even until today. You know, Muslims. You're from the north, right? So there's Muslims
Yeah.
there. I'm sure you've
No,
come
we
across
have
Muslims who memorize
relatives.
the
We have
Quran.
relatives. We have relatives. We are mixed up in them.
Exactly. So you know what I'm talking about, right? So
Yeah.
that is the major method of preservation. And let me tell you how strong it is. Imagine something like, let me say, something that we all memorize, like the alphabet. You know the
Yeah.
alphabet now, the English alphabet.
Yeah.
Can I come anywhere and say, recite the alphabet, A, B, C, E, G, A? You're gonna say, bro, what are you saying, bro? Right?
Yeah.
That's the power of memorization. So I know people will think, oh, it's not as strong, this. But when you have, maybe it's not strong if one person memorizes or two. When you have millions of people memorizing the Quran, then it's as strong as anything. And that is why till today the Quran is preserved. And also we have manuscripts. So that's the second form of preservation. Now, about the story of Uthman.
Okay.
When the Prophet ﷺ died, huh?
Yeah.
What's his name? Abu Bakr was the one who took over. You understand?
Yes.
And at that time, they made, what's it called? At that time, they went for war, and a lot of people, like a number of people who memorized the Quran, they were killed
Yeah, I
in
think
war.
that's Ali Yamama war. Ali
Yeah,
Yamama
Battle of
war.
Jabal.
Yeah, something like that.
Exactly. So they were killed, and Omar, he had to convince, they pondered about it, him and Abu Bakr, and they decided to compile the Quran. What they have from people, they decided to compile it. So in case these people are killed, we still have the Mus'haf. You understand?
Yeah.
So they did that. They had one Mus'haf, right? Then years passed. Abu Bakr, he died. Umar, he died. Radiallahu anhum. Then it's time for Uthman. And in the time of Uthman, Islam was spreading. Because during Umar's time, Islam spread so much. So in the time of Uthman, it was spreading. Then the people, they started to, how do I say? The Quran has different recitations, different methods of recitation, right? So the people who they were taught one method of recitation, they would say, it's not like this, it's not like this. And these people would say, it's not like this, it's not like this. Because the way it happens is every companion has his own recitation, basically. One companion would go, he would teach these people his own recitation. Another companion would go and teach another country, another people, his own recitation. So if they meet, people from there and there, they meet and they were like, oh, but what is this? What is this? So what Uthman did is he gathered the same people, the same committee that did the Masahif in the time of Abu Bakr, he gathered them again and he told them to make the Quran in one Mus'haf with no, they didn't put any dots. One Mus'haf.
Sorry, let me cut you off. Come again, where is it? You said, did he have a revelation or what? Sorry, I didn't get you.
No, I didn't say he had a revelation. I said he decided to.
Okay, he decided on his own.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, and what's it called? Obviously, he deliberated with the companions, but in the end, he's the leader. He's the one with the decision. Then they brought the same committee that did it for Abu Bakr, and they did it again. And what Umar did, what Uthman did is, because the companions, they would have their own personal masahif. Maybe their own is not complete. Maybe they only have a couple surahs. They have their own personal book, basically. It's like when you're taking notes in class. Not everybody's notes is the same, but you're still copying from the same source, if you understand, in secondary school, right?
Sure.
Some people, they do some drawings in their notes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what Umar did, basically, let me give you in this example, he got the teacher's notes, or he got the best students to gather their notes, and he made it into one, and he burnt the rest of the notes. That's what he did. You understand?
Yeah.
That is basically like the best example I can think of right now, the best analogy. So is that clear?
Yeah, I understand. Thank you so much.
Lovely, bro. You got any more questions?
Well, there
Maybe
there is this hadith. Let me check. I didn't know whether I can remember the number.
Okay.
But the story was about, is it Umar during the hijab, that Umar was a kind of advising the Prophet about a revelation need to come down. Let me see if I can get that particular hadith. That Umar was asked is about this hijab revelation before it came down. But
regardless of the hadith, what is your question? If you can't find the hadith, what is your question?
Okay, it was a kind of like Umar was advising, he was suggesting, let me just put it like suggesting to the Prophet that this revelation need to come down about the hijab. Then afterwards, the revelation comes down. So my question is some of the revelation, is it people's idea that they tell the Prophet to, or was it some of the revelation was just God that, based on the hadith, because Umar was advising and suggesting. I don't know whether you get the question.
I fully understand. Let me take you back to the class analogy. You understand the class analogy, right? Let's say.
Bring this Muhammad J. Sharif. He was a kind of requesting. I don't know.
No, he's Muslim. Don't worry about him. He's Muslim.
Okay.
Yeah, he just wants to be on the panel. No problem, bro. Sorry, bro. Yeah, but let's just. Yeah. So, what am I saying? Let's use the class analogy. Let's say the students are the companions. The teacher is the Nabiullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the teacher, he gets his notes from Allah, from supreme authority, right?
Yeah.
The teacher, he doesn't know the notes. It's the supreme authority that knows the notes, right? Because he gets it bit by bit, right?
Yeah.
What if the students ask a question that is in tomorrow's topic? You understand? If the students say, what about this thing? Don't you think this? And the teacher says, And tomorrow we come and they give him the topic for today, and the thing is present. That doesn't mean that this guy is the one that they connived and put it. It just means that the syllabus agrees with what the student was saying. All right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Because the revelation...
Yeah, I'm getting you. Maybe towards ending I will understand. Yeah.
The Quran, okay, the Quran is strictly from Allah. Just because you agree with it, because the regulations didn't all come at once. I said that in the beginning. It was being revealed.
Yeah, yeah, you
But just
said it.
because someone said something preemptively, that doesn't mean that the revelation is still not going to come down. You know, just because someone
Yeah.
said it, Allah is not going to say, "Oh, this guy has said what I wanted to send down. I'm not going to send it again." You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
You say so. It's very simple. Allah agreed with what Umar said. Whether Umar said it or not, Allah is still going to reveal it. You understand what I'm saying? It's very simple. I don't know if you
So
understand.
it was not a suggestion of Umar.
It was not a suggestion. That doesn't mean that the Prophet Muhammad does not take suggestions from his Sahaba. If he takes suggestions from them and Allah does not allow it, or Allah does not validate it, then it's not going to be, what's it called? It's not going to be accepted. Allah will not allow the Prophet to give it out. There's this particular issue. One time after a war, they had prisoners of war, basically. And Omar, he said that they should be executed, right?
Yeah.
And Abu Bakr, he said that, no, we should keep them, ransom them. And basically, the Prophet Muhammad, he took the side of what's it called? He took the side of, Abu Bakr, and he kept them, he ransomed them. Then Allah later revealed that he was not supposed to ransom them. So Allah corrected him for taking the advice. You understand? So if he had taken the right advice, Allah will still have revealed. Do you understand what I'm saying? So whatever even if he takes the advice, Allah will reveal regarding it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
Allah will always be there to correct. Because the prophets, they are not perfect. They are humans. They can make mistakes. You understand?
Yeah.
So I hope you got it very clearly, bro.
Yeah, most of the times I don't like reading most these hadiths. They have a kind of some you take it as if it was contradiction or something or such.
You know, the thing with hadith, right? The hadith are, when people read stuff like this, they think that a hadith is like Prophet Muhammad, he just woke up today and said this. They don't know that the whole day is happening. There's a lot of things in context. He didn't just wake up and say this. So when they read that one and they extract it and they put macro lenses on it, that's when they start to get confused. But when you take the whole hadith corpus in together in unison and you make them one, la ishkal, you will see no problems with the hadith, inshallah.
Okay.
So let me ask you, please, bro, before you leave.
All right.
No. I'm not even asking you about Christianity, bro. I'm asking, why are you not Muslim? You see the topic? Why are you not Muslim?
Okay, why am I not a Muslim?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of
What is
things.
stopping you from accepting Islam? If Islam was the truth, would you accept it, basically?
If it is the truth, well, there won't be any truth apart from Jesus, based on Jesus' revelation and based on what he said.
But we believe
I don't
in
know that you
Jesus.
get me. Based on his what he testified to people. I don't know that you get me.
No, explain. But we believe in Jesus.
Okay.
I know you know that, but I'm just trying to.
But you can't. One thing with a Muslim believing in Jesus, you can't believe in something and you say that you will not believe in all that that person has. You understand? You can't believe you now. If you say you believe in me, I will have an ideology or an idea that you once you say that you totally believe in me, you must follow all that I have. All that I've said.
But now the question is, how do you know that what you have about Jesus is true? That's the big question.
Well, more like most of the things in the Bible we have just as you said, with the Quran, it has an manuscript, and the Bible has the biggest manuscript on all the religious books on earth. And we have some archaeological facts. So, and even with the manuscript alone, that testifies that yes, all that it is in the Bible is truth and the only truth. The manuscript alone, even the manuscript alone testifies that. Okay.
Let me tell you something about your manuscripts. You can go look this up after this.
Okay.
What language did Jesus speak? He spoke Aramaic or Hebrew, right?
Yeah.
The earliest complete manuscripts that you have, They come
Yeah.
400 years after Jesus. And not just that, but they are in an entire different language that Jesus did not speak, which is Greek. You understand?
Yeah.
So for the first complete manuscript that you have 400 years after Jesus, and the ones that they even say they don't have them, but they say maybe, they say they were written, the individual gospels were written 60, 70 years after what's it called? After Jesus. They're still in Greek. And they are supposed to be written by the companions of Jesus who spoke the same language as him. And let's just say, so the people, let's say they were around the same age as Jesus, so 33, 70 years, they were 100 years, they were 100 years old, now speaking a different language.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I got it.
It's not adding up. There's gaps.
Okay, but does all the manuscripts say has conflict with each other, or
This is something not Muslims are saying. Textual criticism scholar, they say that all the manuscripts, there is no two manuscripts of the how many 5,000. There is no two of them that are identical.
it's even more than 5,000.
Manuscripts of the New Testament do we have from the first Christian century? None. From the decades after the books were written, how many do we have? The years afterwards, the decade, none. Zero. How many do we have from the early second century? Say, manuscripts that clearly date up to around the year 150. We have one scrap. This is it. This may look big because it's a big screen. This is the actual size. It's the size of a credit card.
So the textual criticism scholars, they said that no two manuscripts are identical. That's what they said.
Well,
You can look this up after
I have watched most debate, everybody talking about the manuscript, but so far, based on my finding, I don't know, but I will go and make.
No, but the thing is,
yeah.
as a layman, you don't have access to these manuscripts.
Yeah,
That's just
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't.
So whatever research you're going to do, you're still going to go back to the scholars of the manuscripts.
Yes, for sure.
So what else was I going to say?
Why I'm not
So if Islam was true, would you accept it? That's the question I asked.
Well, so let me say
Yes or
now.
no, bro? If Islam was true, would you accept it?
Well, based on my belief, based on my belief in Jesus.
Forget about your belief, bro. If Islam is true, right, and your belief contradicts with the truth, would you stay in your belief and leave the truth?
I don't think there will be any truth apart from Jesus.
But don't you think this is a bit like
No.
close-minded?
Why?
Or because
The reason is
Okay.
now Jesus has finally sealed it up based on the stories and based on the Bible.
That's what I was
Jesus
asking.
has-
Sorry to cut you off, but why do you believe
Yeah.
that these things are authentic from Jesus?
Well, based on what I tell you, the archaeological facts and the
What
and the
archaeological facts, bro?
manuscripts
Like,
and
I'm not putting you on the
yes,
spot, by the way. Like, let us know.
pardon. So that
I'm
I
not
get
trying
you.
to put you on the spot, but let us know what archaeological facts are you talking about.
Well, we have many, I believe. Just that I didn't, I didn't have all in on my brain, something like that. But let me see. We have, if I can remember, around 7 of them, the most authentic one. Around 7.
What is it? What does it prove? That Jesus lived? Is that what it proves? That Jesus was a man who lived 2,000 years ago?
Yes, not only Jesus, all that is contained in the Bible.
How can you have archaeological facts for everything in the Bible? That's not just possible.
No,
Maybe
not
you have
everything.
history.
Some. That's why I says it's. I think it's around 7 or more. 7,
Like
I
what?
think. The
Like,
one
honestly,
that
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm just curious because
I understand.
Like, if you ask a Muslim, why do you believe in the Prophet Muhammad now? I can give you tons of examples, tons of reasons. And if these things, you cannot wrap your head around them, and you say this has to have come from God, and it's like, if this has come from God, why will you not accept it?
No, there are a lot of archaeological facts too. Just that I can't just know all of them on my head, but I know there are a lot. Even like if I can remember the Is it the wall of Jericho? Something, the destruction of the
wall,
layer
the wall of
was being
Jericho.
excavated. Yes, yes.
The wall of
Yeah.
Jericho, is it around Jesus' time?
No, it's in the Bible. I'm telling you about the Bible.
Yeah, but the thing about the Bible is not, it's not one book, it's a collection of books.
Yes, collection
So
of books.
what does the wall of Jericho have to do with, let's say, the New
It
Testament,
makes
basically?
the Bible authentic. And even the
No.
I think the crucifixion site, something like that. I think it was discovered. I don't know whether maybe
It was
no.
discovered.
Yes, yes,
How
yes.
is it
That
that, what does that
yes in
mean? That it was
Golgotha. Yes,
discovered?
in Golgotha. I
Huh?
think
In
that
what?
the name of the site is Golgotha. Golgotha. I don't know
Golgotha.
whether I
So
pronounce
what
it
did they
well.
discover 2,000 years later?
The
What did they
the
discover?
the crucifixion site. The
So what did they
description of the
find?
place.
How did they
Yes.
know that is the site?
Based on the story in the Bible.
I don't understand. Honestly, I don't understand, bro.
No, archaeological facts are things that are being said in the Bible, maybe the description and everything about it. Then the findings is that you see a sign of reality in what was being said on that particular book. I don't know whether you get it. Do you
Okay, but
understand?
that just means that place exists. That doesn't mean that the Bible is true. Like the accounts. Do you understand what I'm saying? That only proves that place that was described in that gospel is a real place. Do you understand that? That's all it proves.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, let's be like real. That is all that thing proves, that place was true. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Well, how can you, well, if something existed and let's say something existed and based on research and findings, then that things come to reality. That makes it real.
Think of it like this. Think of it like this. Let's say,
Okay.
I write a book and I say that, you know what happened to Trump I don't even know how long ago, where they were trying to kill him.
Who, Trump?
Yeah, Trump. You know what happened
Yeah,
to
yeah.
him?
I saw it on the news.
Okay, let's say that I write a book. What, 400 years later, right? And I say Trump was killed in this place, and I describe it very well. And you go and you find the place. Does that prove that Trump was killed?
No, I didn't get to.
If I write a book 400 years from now, right?
Okay.
And I describe that place, and I say Trump was killed here, is that evidence that Trump was killed? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, why do you believe what I'm saying? The evidence should be in the person. Why do you believe what I'm saying? Not why
You say
just because the place is described, that doesn't mean what I'm saying is true. That's basically what I want you to understand. Do you understand what I'm
but
saying?
what if there are witnesses around and they have also wrote their books and they have
Who is
said
the
the same thing about it?
witnesses for the resurrection?
For the crucifixion.
For the crucifixion?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, in the Bible it says that all the disciples fled. All of them fled away. None of them were there to witness it.
The crucifixion? No.
If you need, let me look for it.
Look it up. His mother was there. The disciples were there. Even the Roman soldiers were there. The people that crucified him,
they're not the
they
ones who
were
wrote
there.
the Gospels, are they?
People that walk with Jesus, talk with Jesus, eat with Jesus, they were the one that wrote those stories.
Which stories? The Gospels?
Yes.
That's
They
that's
live
why I
and
was
they
telling you
live
about
with Jesus. They lived with Jesus
That's
during
why
that
I
time.
was telling you all the New Testament scholars. It's unanimous. It's not unanimous, but it's a consensus among the New Testament scholars that these Gospels were not written by the people, the names. They're just names attributed
How
to the
sure are you
Gospels.
about that? How sure are you about that?
Don't be afraid of using your intelligence to find out the truth. The truth may not be what you were taught, but if it's true, you should believe it, not run from it. As I studied more and more using my intelligence as an evangelical, but also praying about it, I became convinced that the New Testament Gospels were not written by eyewitnesses or by people who knew eyewitnesses. The first point to make is the rather obvious one that the Gospels don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses. They are all anonymous. The titles in your Gospels, the Gospel according to Matthew and so forth, were added by later editors. They were not put there by the original authors. Second point, none of the Gospels claims to be written by the person whose name it bears. They don't claim to be written by eyewitnesses, and they don't claim to be written by people named Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are later traditions that were added to the Gospels. These traditions do not start appearing for about 100 years. Some people think that there is an early church father named Papias who attests to the witness of Mark and Matthew, but in fact there are very solid reasons for thinking that Papias, who lived around the year 120 to 140, is not referring to our Mark or our Matthew. The first time anybody refers to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John by name is Irenaeus in the year 180, 100 years after these books were written. My understanding of the Gospels as they've come down to us is that they were anonymous, and we don't know their names, and they're not built on eyewitness testimony.
You just tell
Okay,
me
now
about the Quran that all those things were stories. It was not the same as if you were there or something. But you see, one thing with Muslims that I feel, I don't know, they feel that they don't like accepting things that deals with the Bible or something. They just like
but
the
no, I'm
part
not the
that
one who
stood
said
there or
this. It's
something.
New Testament scholars that are saying this. It's not us. You understand this,
No,
right? It's not
no,
us. It's New Testament
most
scholars that are saying
Muslims, you know, they just like picking a story that like that they just like, you know, everything
no,
that,
but
you
listen
know,
to what I'm
the
saying, bro. Listen to what I'm
yeah.
saying. I'm not the one saying this. It's New Testament scholars that are saying this. Did you
Okay.
get that? I'm not the one saying this. It's New Testament scholars that are saying this. They say that it's anonymous, that the names like the Matthew,
Some,
Mark, Luke, and John, they were
it's not all.
attributed. Huh?
It's not all. I was telling you about his disciples, people that live with him, that they are people that were there during his time. They all wrote
Like
these
who?
stories.
Like who? Was Luke a disciple?
Matthew, Matthew
Was Luke
was
a
there,
disciple? Was Mark a disciple?
but they were
And
there.
but that's the thing. The scholars have looked at this and they said that this is coming 60, 70 years later in a different language, that there is no way that this was written by the people who walked and talked to Jesus. That is what they said. I'm not saying this. They have
Do you mean
examined all
that
the other.
even the manuscript are lying? Are you saying that even the manuscript is not right, or what?
That is what it's the manuscripts that they're talking about. The people who wrote those manuscripts. The manuscripts are coming 60. They don't even have these manuscripts, but they're saying allegedly.
No,
They don't have it.
which manuscript that?
Huh? I can't hear you, bro. I think you cut off. Yeah, I can hear you now, bro.
Okay, all the manuscripts are there. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, all of them. They live with Jesus, they walk with Jesus, they were there with Jesus. So all the account, it was not even a story that was given as if I've saw like some of the ideas that this I've seen, or someone tell someone this tell this one. These people live and walk with Jesus.
Okay, no problem, bro. So what were we saying?
We are talking about John, Matthew, I think, is it Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John? People that you say they were
What I
not
would
there.
say. No, that's not the thing. I didn't say they weren't there. I said the people who wrote these books, these manuscripts are not those people. That's what I'm saying. And that is the consensus of the New Testament scholars, because these manuscripts comes decades after them in a different language. Do you understand what I'm saying?
But the book,
No. Wait,
most of them were evidently written.
Prof, listen
Okay.
to me.
Okay.
Do you understand what I just said?
Sorry, come again.
Exactly, you didn't. These manuscripts that you're reading, the earliest thing that you have that we can see today, the earliest thing is 400 years after Jesus.
Okay.
So how is it possible that these people wrote that? And the people that they say the earliest they can trace it to is the earliest they can trace the time it was written to is 70, 80, 90 years after Jesus. So how is it possible? We don't even have those ones that are 70, 80, 90 years. We don't have them. They're not existent. They're not extant. But they're saying allegedly they were authored at that time.
Okay.
But the earliest thing we have is 400 years after Jesus. The name is the Codex Sinaiticus. You can look it up. And what I'm saying is they're all in a different language, Greek. So how is it possible that the companions of Jesus, they lived for so long, for 70, 80 years, plus their own lifespan, and they come and they're writing it in a different language?
So
This
you are
is not
saying,
me. I'm not making this argument. It's New Testament scholars that are making this argument. You can go look it up. You can go do your
yeah,
research.
one thing with the Bible, everything is a kind of plain. I know of the Codex Sinaiticus, something
Yeah, that
Codex
is your earliest
Vaticanus,
manuscript, and it
something
is
like that.
400
Yeah,
years.
most of them.
Sure.
But one thing that with the Bible is very plain. It's not something that you will be hiding and twisting things about. So
What do you mean?
even with the manuscript, like somebody like I think it was, is it, yes, Luke, it was the book of Luke. It was written by him, and Luke was a companion of Paul and also
Okay,
a
wait, no,
poet.
no.
Yeah,
Let me press
okay,
you a bit. What is your
okay.
evidence that Luke wrote that gospel?
The manuscript.
What is your evidence that Luke himself, the man Luke, wrote that gospel?
The manuscript, we have the manuscript.
Is his
Most
name on
of
the
them,
manuscript?
you see most of them, just as you said, just as you said with the Quran. Even when the prophet is reciting or doing things, there are people that are writing. Even all those prophets and other people, it must not be them to write it directly or something, but they have their
No, I
writers
don't think you're understanding what I'm
beside
saying.
them and people. I
I
don't know
don't
whether
think you
you get
understand.
me.
I understand what you're saying. Now, let me tell you
Okay,
about the Islamic narrative. In Islam, we
okay.
have something called isnad, a sanad, chain of narration. Do you understand?
That's,
Have you
yeah, most
heard
of the
about that
hadith
before?
is about narration, yes.
Exactly. So we know who is who, and all these people, we know them. We can give you biographies about these people. So
Okay.
we know how it was passed down to the point it was written down. We know all this. What I'm asking you is, the book, the let's say the Gospel of Luke, it is said to be written by Luke, but there is
Okay.
no evidence that Luke wrote this. His name is not on the Gospel. There's nothing about him in the, like, there is no evidence. It is just a title that they put on the Gospel. And that is
Oh,
not my
look,
statement. Again, that is the statement of the New Testament scholars. That is their consensus.
are you saying that there is no any evidence on Luke or something? I didn't know. I didn't
No,
get that
I'm
part.
not saying that Luke didn't exist. That is not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he wasn't this thing. I'm saying there is no evidence that he wrote that book, the Gospel of Luke. That is what I'm saying.
So if you believe he existed, why can't you accept that he wrote that book? If you
Because
believe
anyone could
that he
write
existed,
that book. Someone who didn't meet Jesus could have written it and said this
and
is
you
from you.
think
Do you understand what
all
I'm
the
saying?
world, I understand, and you
Why
think
do you
all
believe it?
the world will just follow what everybody will write and say their mind? Do you think it's possible?
There are multiple books in the New Testament that
Even
Hebrews,
more,
the
all
book
the,
Hebrews is anonymous. There are books in the New Testament that are
yes, I
supposedly
know. That's
written.
why that's
Listen,
why
listen, let
that's
me
to tell you
let me
that
say
it
something.
cannot lie. That's to tell you that it cannot lie. They
And
cannot just
the same
name it
thing. It's
after
not lying when
somebody.
they say, it's not lying as well when they say that the Gospels are anonymous. It's not a lie.
Yes, so you see, that's why everything is very plain and clear, because they cannot
So
just
if
lie
they're
and name
anonymous and you
somebody
don't know
after
who
it.
wrote them, why do you believe them? That's what I'm saying, you know? I don't think you're
Yeah,
understanding me,
no,
bro.
yeah, I understand you, but I gave you my reasons. That's the reasons.
Okay.
So
What's the reason?
yeah, yeah.
What's the reason?
The manuscript, archaeological facts, and the belief in all that was written.
Wait, but
Yeah.
but we're talking about the manuscripts itself. So the manuscripts cannot be
You
the
see,
reason for
one,
you to believe in the
no,
manuscripts. You understand that?
no, I don't know. I haven't go that deep with research with the manuscript, but all the
I've heard you.
manuscript, I've watched most debate about our manuscript, but it's not that they are denying the fact that they were not existed, or that they were I don't know how will I put it.
I'm not denying the fact that they existed. What I'm saying, and
Okay.
this again, this I'm not making this up. The earliest thing that you have that we can see today, we can carbon date, is the Codex Sinaiticus, and it is carbon dated to the 4th century. All the 60
The what?
years after Jesus,
The
70 years
Codex
after Jesus, 19 after
Sinaiticus.
Jesus. What did you say?
You said the Codex what? Is it the Codex Vaticanus or which one?
No, Sinaiticus is earlier than the Vaticanus.
Yeah,
Sinaiticus is the earliest you have, and it is 400.
no,
400.
Sinaiticus is the oldest, but that's for the New Testament. Then the Vaticanus is oldest, but is for the complete, the whole Bible. That's the manuscript.
You're right. Yes.
Then we have this death, I think, is it death
Dead Sea Scrolls.
Dead Sea Scrolls, yes. We
Dead
have
Sea
them.
Scrolls also
We
come
have a lot
thousands
of
of years.
manuscripts, and yes, and it's not what I'm saying is that most of our manuscripts, they are, whatever it is, they are very plain. Even if the writers are anonymous, they will not just claim somebody and put it there. That's just to tell you that those things
Why
are
do you
true.
trust that they're telling you the truth? Because do you understand what I'm saying?
It's
Do you
just
understand what I'm saying?
like your belief. It's just belief, just the way that you believe the Quran and everything.
But that's the difference. I believe the Quran because of evidences in the Quran and evidences that the Prophet Muhammad is a messenger of God.